Ramana Sadguru, Ramana Sadguru, Ramana Sadguru Rayane.
Ramana Sadguru, Ramana Sadguru, Ramana Sadguru Rayane. Ramana Sadguru, Ramana Sadguru, Ramana Sadguru Rayane.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Stay in your own beautiful silence. No efforts are needed here. It's an effortless state. You can reach this state when you've given up all efforts. Who does effort? Effort is from the mind. Effort is of the ego. Then how practice can lead to self-abidance? That's exactly it is. In practice you make effort, and you make effort, and you make effort, and you sit quietly, and you try to sit quietly, and you try to be attentive to silence, and you try your best and best and best and all the time and day and night, and you just get into it. And then what happens? Then you give up all efforts. You don't give up. You just know that none of your efforts can get you there. When you realize this, then the complete grace dawns on you. So should we do effort, should we practice, or should we not do practice? To realize that practice or efforts doesn't lead you to here is only possible when you practice and put your sincere efforts. What a paradox. But everyone who has practiced and realized will tell you the same thing. Because who is the one who is practicing? Who is putting the efforts? And who lets go? all the efforts are from the ego. And ego has to go to reach there. And so anyone or everyone who has realized, who has come to this self, this silence, can only tell it's only because of the grace. Because the person who was putting efforts has to go, has to disappear. No one can be in self-abidance by keeping attention all the time. It is a natural state, Sahaj Samadhi. But still, when we practice silence. We stay in silence. We ignore all thoughts, emotions, feelings, desires, attachments. And we stay here. This is practice. And then we have dispassion, detachment, vairagya from rest of the world. Otherwise, if you sit like this in silence, your mind will take you to all the places you are interested. You might think you are not interested, why it is taking you there. But if you go deep within, you will realize subconsciously all these things still attracts you. So then what should you do? You have dispassion but not complete. You have surrendered but not complete. You want to be in self-abidance, but you also want to be in the Word. So your desire to be in self-abidance is also not complete. It is your incompleteness which is not letting you there. So how can you be complete in your surrender and your longing? By practice. And what should we practice? Practice to love silence. But practice without ego, without doership, without looking on the watch, without telling others that you practiced 30 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours. Practice with patience. Practice with love. If you practice with love, then you're out of the time zone. You're not waiting for anything. A lover with his or her beloved never looks into the time. If he or she passes whole night, whole day, still can feel that the time is sweeping away very fast. This is eternal love. In this love, lover melts away. Into this divine love. So you do practice, don't leave your practice. But remember, practice will never take you there. At the end, it will always be the grace. Grace of God, grace of Bhagwan, grace of yourself. It's you. The only way to get this grace is to drop the ego, which is the most difficult thing. Because whatever we do as an action, the ego puts into its credit and gets bigger and bigger. So when you practice with complete surrender. Never have a bhav or a feeling that you are doing something. It should not add to your pride that everyone at home are sleeping and you woke up at 3 a.m. to do practice. Don't tell anyone. It's better to lie to people. Tell them I was doing some other work. I had a disturbed sleep or whatever. Or just keep quiet. Don't make this as an act of pride. To dissolve ego, all the actions throughout the day should be done as a non-doer. Actions are done by the body. Until this body is there, it will do some action. You just stay as a witness. Not getting involved. You should have same feeling during practice. That you are just observing, and this body, this mind is doing practice and you are just observing. This non-doership will make you stay as awareness, as yourself. Because doer can never reach here. Doer has to drop. And we all know that this satsang which is happening is the grace of God. Without His grace, who can do it? No one can do it. He is doing it through us. He is listening through us. We are nothing. Body, mind are just images. It is He who is speaking and who is listening. It is His grace only acting on all of us. You just keep quiet. Don't take any credit for anything. Don't look for the next moment. You are that right now. Don't move. Don't look away. Don't think. Just be. You are the Sat Chitanand. Pure existence, consciousness, bliss. Unmovable, unshakable. Not on anyone's support. Standing on its own. Not now, but always. Eternally you are like that. You are peace. You are silence. There is no activity in you, though all the activities come out of you. You are like the deep ocean, completely silent. All the noise, all the activity comes out of you at the surface. That is also you, but not you. All these activities don't perturb you. You stay quiet. You're always blissful and peaceful. You are in grace of your own self. No action required. Just deep silence, inside, outside, all pervading. You don't have any body and no mind. You are an empty space. Pure seeing, nothing else. Your eternal nature is peace. Your language is silence. Your fragrance is unconditional love for everything. Nothing is inanimate for you. Everything is living. Everything is awareness. No difference between a stone and a human being. Everything has awareness. The reality behind everything is the same awareness. So how anything can be different? Respect everything. Don't discriminate anything. It is the same awareness in everything. Nothing is superior or inferior. Nothing is of more importance or less importance. You are 100% contented. Nothing can make you happy or unhappy. Your very nature is happiness. Happiness in this nothingness. You are this ever-flowing grace. Feeling of joy, unending bliss. Bhagwan used to call it as Spurna. Spurna is this unending joy, gift of this awareness. grace of the self. Love this silence. Don't look for any words or thoughts or emotions or feelings or the next task or a job. Stay in this silence and keep quiet. In this silence, you are not missing any action. You are at the source. Everything comes out of this source. All happenings and mishappenings in the world comes from this source. The source of all noise and chatter is this silence. And this silence is you. Come back home. Stay in this silence. In this silence, you can never have an ego. You can only reach this silence once you have given up your role, once you have left the stage. Your ego stays till you have a role. Your desires stay till you have a role. You have asked God with folded hands to take away this role. You had enough of this play. Now you want to rest in His eternal abode, and you're requesting and requesting and requesting in your prayers, in your longing, in your silence. So He has listened to you. And He has accepted your surrender. Now you can't say that, okay, I'll give up 90% of the role and will keep 10%. I'll give up my costume, but I'll keep the hat. You can't do that. This is not allowed. Freedom is always complete. It's not partial. Partial percentage is always a business. Here there is no business. Truth is the other name of God. He is merciful. He is compassionate. He gives you what you ask for. If you want to play the role, keep playing. You have to follow all the rules of the game, law of karma, good and bad deeds, and whatever. But if you have decided to give up the role, then you are left without any choice. Then whatever happens to this body mind, who cares? This body mind is left without a role. It is like a horse with a rider. It was going on full speed. And the horse rider decided to be out of this horse. Now the horse is without a rider. Do you think if there is no rider, the horse will die? There are so many horses in the wild without a rider. I think their life is better than the one who is bound in a stable. That's what this body is now, without a rider. Now in direct grace of God, there is no rider. You have surrendered completely. Your role has been taken away. Because you surrendered in the middle of this role, the role will continue in form of this body-mind, but without a doer. In direct control of God, without any doer. The one who surrendered the role where is he or she? That was a myth. Till you were thinking you had a role to play, you were the doer. And this doer is called as an ego or a person, individual, identity. The moment you have 100% surrendered, you, the person, has disappeared now. Now you can't find that person anymore. The moment the surrender is 100%, you realize that you are nothing. There is nothingness. This is the most restful state you have ever come across. You were already in the bus of God, and God was driving. But you thought you were driving, and you were sitting as a passenger, holding a fake wheel. But you know this only when you surrender 100%. When you give up this role 100%, then only you realize. Otherwise, it's all intellectual, of no use. It's all crap if it's from your mind. When it becomes your own experiential knowledge, you know that you are only an empty space. You have no power. You have no rights. You have no responsibilities. Nothing needs to be done or accomplished. No agenda, no mission. You are pure emptiness. You are not even a witness. Just awareness, pure and simple. As you have given up your role, if things happens right or wrong with the body, it's not going into anyone's balance. There is no law of karma to you. On Thursday in our department, my director did an urgent meeting of all the neurologists. And then he explained that one of the neurologists has disappeared. Probably he meant to say he retired or whatever. But he was already on roster for the whole year till January. So others have to take up that role. What a beautiful thing. He has given up his role. Now who can blame him? Who has to fulfill that role? In this case, someone has to do it. Or we need to hire a new neurologist to do that role. But if this body, mind, ego has given up the role, who will occupy it? Who will enter into this body to do that role? Another ego? What will happen? Here the story is different. On the first instance, the awareness, consciousness, use this body and mind and started to think that it is this body and mind, and took responsibility of this body and mind. With negative thoughts, it was suffering. With positive thoughts, it was feeling pride. With wrong actions of the body, it has guilt. With right actions, again, it was taking as its own victory. It was just a notion. This body-mind is like a puppet in the hands of divine. The concept of ego is false. You just give up this role. Don't keep any part of this role. Surrender 100% in the feet of Bhagwan. I can assure you, He will listen to you. But don't hold back a part of the role. You have to surrender 100%. You can't have two portfolios. Either you can be something or nothing. Don't worry about the body-mind. God, who has created this body-mind, knows how to take care of this body-mind. He is already taking care of billions and billions of body-mind in this universe. This body-mind is not that important, or it is as important as other body-mind. Plants, animals, birds, rocks. So leave aside this worry about this body-mind. Because even if you worry, even if you take care of this body-mind, how long will it last? Maybe 100? Then who cares? You just sit back and relax. Relax in this eternal, restful state. Self-abidance. Abidance in peace. Abidance in inaction. Once there is no doership, no ego. all the actions of the body will become divine. You in this state come out of this space-time manifestation. Giving up this role, you realize that you are nothing but awareness. You have no form, no shape, no attributes, no sex. You are nothing but still complete and so happy. In this nothingness, Bhagwan's choicest blessings are in you. You are his blessed devotee. He knows everything about you because He is you. He is in your heart. All His grace. When we do practice, when we do all the efforts, then with His grace, the ego dissolves and we become empty. And this emptiness fills up with beautiful fragrance of peace. And Bhagwan takes over everything. Buck stops here, nowhere to go. Sitting in your own silence, what will you do? You can only praise God. You can only thank Him. You can only have feeling of gratitude. Nobody knows except you that you are in the shower of His grace. And the shower has cleaned all your past karmas and sins, purified even this body and mind. Your heart is open. With unending joy. There is no reason for it. It is its very nature. And this is the first time you will realize that a life was always unfolding in the best possible way by His grace. And now you realize all the suffering which came to this body-mind was to teach and instruct, to move towards heart, to give away ego. All is His grace. You can call God, Bhagwan, Ramana, Shiva, Christ, Buddha, or nothingness, or awareness, or self. It's all the same. It's the power of grace. Which burns our ego, and everything coming out of the ego, desires, and longing for materialistic things. It all get burned in this grace. Slowly and gradually, all the impurities are erased. And we are left with nothing but His divine grace and peace. There are no words to thank Him. We can only fold our hands, close our eyes, He has allowed us to be back home. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace.